Hi, how are you? This video is the final presentation of Group 7. We are going to introduce the idea, the children-computer interaction from different aspects, including the definition, the relations with usability, the challenges, and so on. And the first thing I want to introduce is what is child-computer interaction? Child-computer interaction is the study of the design, evaluation, and implementation of interactive computer systems for children, and the wider impact of technology on children and society. This study focuses on how to design interactive technology for children and how children may make the most out of it in order to have the most positive impact on their development. It is different from adult computer interactions because of several key factors, such as the rate of change of children when compared to adults, the frequent involvement of adults in children's interactions with technology, the different context of use, and the underlying culture and social values with regard to what is good for children. And this idea was created by a group of pioneering researchers including Marvin Minsky and Alan Kay in the 1960s and 1970s. They began exploring the design of computer systems for children. Their original focus was making computer programming accessible to children, but in the long term, their work had brought influences, including early tablet and laptop design ideas, their development of object-oriented programming, and a vision for the use of computers in education. And in the 1990s, a more steady flow of research in child-computer interactions was established with growing influences from education, the graphic design, and the communication studies. And the next question is, why is child-computer interaction so important? And I think the answer is obvious because nowadays the computer is everywhere. Everyone, including the young children, use computers in our daily lives. And as children grow up using interactive computer devices more frequently, the way they learn, they play, and interact with others is changing. And whether the changes are positive or negative will depend on how these interactions with computers are designed and how these devices are used. And the child-computer interactions is the study that focuses on how to design interactive technology for children in order to have the most positive impact on their development.
As the child-computer interaction field matures, some guidelines for success have emerged. They provide lessons on how and what to design. Now I would like to introduce 10 guidelines for child-computer interaction. First, work in interdisciplinary teams. These days, interactive technologies for children are most often created by design teams instead of individuals. The most successful projects tend to have interdisciplinary teams, or at the very least, involve people experienced in design and evaluation methods, technology builders, and experts in the particular child population being targeted. In addition, most teams include a designer and experts in the topics the technology touches. Then, we suggest to deeply engage with stakeholders. The design process to create an interactive computer system involves a series of steps from setting requirements to establishing designs, implementing technologies, and evaluating them. Deeply engaging with key stakeholders during the design process significantly increases the chances that a technology would be successful. As adults, not only do we have different difficulty remembering what it was like to be a children, but we have to realize that each generation of children has its own views, expectations, and experience with technology, as well as their own needs and interests. For this reason, it is important to involve children throughout the design process. Just like human computer interaction, researchers and practitioners calls for user-centered design. In the child-computer interaction field, we value the child-centered design. Then we will talk about evaluate impact over time. Children usually do not change immediately when they use technology. In fact, skills and abilities emerge over time. So to truly understand the impact of technology, we need to see how it affects children over an extended period. We need to evaluate the impact over a long time span. Then we need to design an ecology, not just a technology. Technology use is significantly affected by context. For this reason, when designing technologies for children, it is important to not just think of the technology, but to take into account the broader context of use. In addition, design teams can go further and design a whole ecology for use. In other words, do not stop at the technology. Just instead design a physical space where it will be used, and perhaps even think about the people who might be present when the technology is used and the supportive activities. Then, we need to make it practical for children's reality. For technology designed for children to be successful, it needs to be able to work in children's real contexts. While it is often necessary to start the design process in a lab, designs should be considered from the beginning the contexts in which children are likely to use the technology, and whether it is fit for those contexts. Fragile, heavy, uncomfortable, or dangerous designs are unlikely to make an impact. Likewise, technologies should be relevant to children's lives, needs, and interests. And then we talk about personalize. Children arrive at the use of technologies having gone through different life experiences with a different set of skills, neural structures, and bodies. Their needs and their needs and interests are diverse. Some may have cognitive, motor, or perceptual impairments. For this reason, personalization can provide greater benefits in making technology friendly for children. It is important to point out that this is even more important for children than for adults, as younger children are more likely to show greater diversity in needs and abilities when compared to older children and adults. Then, we need to be mindful of skills hierarchies. In many domains, including music and education, the learning process consists of learning basic skills and then adding more complex skills that are based on the first set. Design teams need to be mindful of the skills necessary for using an interactive technology and ensure that the children who will use the technology have those basic skills. If children are learning skills through technology, again, skill hierarchies should be noted. Then, we need to support creativity. Learning can be more motivating if it is done with a purpose meaningful to the children, such as creating or building. This idea forms the basics of the concept of constructionism, that child development that has had a great influence on the field of child-computer interaction. This focus has been greatly expanded in the child-computer interaction community, with interactive technologies now supporting a wide variety of other creative activities, including storytelling, music authoring, three-dimensional design, smart textiles, and so forth. So about the augment human connections, we will say that secure attachments to parents and primary caregivers are paramount to children's positive development. Likewise, face-to-face interactions with teachers, friends, and other peers are a foundation for the learning and development of critical skills, such as learning, negotiating, sharing, teaching, and helping others. While computers can often interfere with those personal connections, they can also augment them. With child-computer interaction, there has also been a significant amount of attention paid to the communication and collaboration technologies, with many including support for face-to-face collaboration, most recently through touchscreen, tangible, and full-body user interfaces. There has also been a recent surge in technologies to support remote communication, mostly with the aim of keeping children in contact with close family. Finally, we will introduce the enabling open-minded physical play. Children who participate in open-minded physical play can benefit in many ways, including having better health, developing problem-solving skills, and resilience, learning to engage with peers, negotiating, and advocating for themselves. The child-computer interaction community has worked on supporting this form of play, with many examples of computer-enhanced indoor and outdoor physical plays.
Next, we are going to talk about how usability applies to the technology design of children. Usability is always a key to design technologies for people because it can be seen as standard for testing product quality. As we know, unlike adults, children are a more sensitive and distracted group. They also can perceive visual information differently than other adults do. So, the technology designed for children is completely different from the design for others. In order to design products that are more suitable for children, we should reconsider the usability goals and measure the goals through different usability testing. And there are 5 common usability goals for child-computer interaction, and I will focus on some of them. The first one is efficiency. Efficiency usually measured based on the time it takes to complete a specific task using technology. Sometimes, we also can measure it by the number of steps to complete a task. As we know, different from adults, children are more easily distracted when doing a task. Thus, the time to measure the efficiency may not accurately. Instead, steps to complete a task will be more consequential than time, and will be a more useful measure of efficiency for children. Fewer steps are likely to indicate a simpler user interface that allows children to more easily engage in activities. Then, the younger the children, the least likely they are to want to spend time learning how to use technology. Thus, children should be able to complete a task without having to go through training beforehand. However, The goal of children being able to start exploring technology with minimal instruction does not mean that there is no learning at all. In fact, according to individual children's current expertise, to adjust the level of training and learning will lead to optimal experience. In addition, memorability refers to the ease of recollection of how to use a particular technology. We often test for memorability with adults by teaching them how to use technology, and weeks or months later to see what aspects they can recall. However, it doesn't make sense to test children in such a way. This is because the technologies designed for younger children are always easier to learn and more likely to be used frequently. Weeks or months later, younger children may recall more aspects than adults do. Therefore, in order to avoid the situation, we must find other ways to test the memorability of children. Usability has been widely explored in the human-computer interaction, but for now, it mainly relates to typical adults. Today, developing usability in child-computer interaction is a challenge for us. We have to take care more about the usability goals and which goals are most important. Besides, it's also important for us to know the needs of children who are atypical in their sensory, physical, or cognitive abilities.
Hi, here's Yuhua, and now let me show you the challenges and the opportunity parts of the child-computer interactions. For the first part, let me show you the children's mental health and the cognition part. The interactions with computers may isolate the children. As we all know, computers make it much easier to connect with others who are far away, which can have positive effect in helping children express feelings, get support from others, and connect with distant loved ones. But at the same time, there's no substitute for a real human smile, a friendly hug, or a facial expression that says, "I care." So, fewer face-to-face interactions could have difficulty developing relationships with others, and also participation in social interactions facilitates the general cognitive functioning. For the second point, the problem about the advertising in interaction products. Because most advertising promotes the idea that one's value in society directly depends on the amount of items acquired. So the consumers, when they are not mature human beings, and then they define themselves by what they own. This is the two main points that the children face when they interact with the computer and fewer face-to-face interactions. So what's the solution? The key is to understanding that the technologies we design will impact the children's cognitive process and on the type of the audience children grow up to be. And so we need to stop thinking solely about the technology will affect the children, but about the role it will play together with all the other technologies in children's ecology. Then turn to the opportunities. So there are currently 3 researchers doing mentioned in the book. The first one is designing technologies that co-develop with children. This part is, in other words, it means we need to go from thinking about what children can do and to thinking about how children change. Doing so would enable us to design technologies such that they could develop with children and provides us the ability to cater to individual children. And the second one, aiming for universal impacts. This means we need to ensure that we design technologies that can make a difference for all children in the world, regardless of their culture, social-economic status, or specific need. And also, reflecting on how technology shapes children's cognition is really important because there's ubiquity of computing devices in children's life. We need to reflect on how they are impacting children's development and how this affect the type of audience that they will become. So These three research is currently happening, and also there are challenges and opportunities that can help set a research agenda for the field of child-computer interaction. Ultimately, we have choices in the research and the work we do, so we need to think carefully about these choices because computers are increasingly playing an important role in children's development.
Communication and collaboration are very important because they are the foundation of healthy child development. Given the significance of communication and collaboration in children's development, the area of research is active. In this part, I will discuss some methods of child-computer interaction with collaboration and communication. There are two approaches using child-computer interaction in facilitating communication and collaboration. One is face-to-face communication, which focuses on physically nearby people. Second is remote communication, which focuses on interact with remotely located people. In face-to-face collaboration, two improvements were confirmed in related researches. First, setups with multiple pointing devices to the same computer can provide a lot of advantages. It is better than the traditional setups in which children had to share a computer with only one input device. Second is the improvement on the similar patterns with touch screens. Multi-touch capabilities touch screens lead to better collaboration and communication. The performance is better than touch screens that can only process one touch at a time. Have to be aware of as that different patterns of collaboration may arise depending on how the rules for collaboration are set up and on the personal characteristics of those communicating or collaborating. In remote communication, many new designing systems help with communications that are geographically separated, except for video conferencing. Some applications also provide additional support for shared activities. For example, parents and children can play or read books together remotely, using physical combined with digital. Besides, there are many social networking applications for children. These applications can help to keep interactions safe. At the same time, the companies and research institutions can collect useful marketing data from children. This data can help to learn about the impact of social network use on children's development. However, there still exist some challenges. The biggest challenge is how to balance the pursuit of new opportunities for remote communication with enhancing already existing face-to-face communications. Thus, we still need to do more research in child-computer interaction combined with communication and collaboration.